You wake up. Your confidence fractures, and your progress, it slows. These three habits, overthinking, emotional rehearsal, and comparison, don't look dangerous. They don't scream for attention. They live in silence, in the background, quietly eroding your strength day after day. And because they're invisible, we excuse them. We say, I'm just cautious, or I just care too much, or I need to stay aware. But there's a line between awareness and obsession, between thought and overthinking, between reflection and rumination. Stoicism doesn't tell you to stop thinking. It tells you to think clearly, to act from reason, not reaction, to pause before engaging, and most importantly, to protect your mind like a fortress. Because what enters, stays. What stays, shapes you. So if you want your energy back, don't just sleep more. Don't just drink more water. Clean your mental space. Catch yourself when you spiral. Interrupt the loop. Ask, is this thought useful? Is it in my control? If not, let it go. Don't rehearse pain. Don't compare paths. Don't overanalyze silence. Guard your peace like it matters, because it does. You don't need more motivation. You need less noise. And when the noise fades, something powerful remains. Focus, clarity, strength. The kind of strength no one sees, but everyone feels. That's the beginning of a Stoic steel mind, pattern that slowly takes over your mind, and you barely notice it. You start saying things like, "Why does this always happen to me?" Or, "They never treat me right." You wait for someone else to change, to fix it, to save you. At first it feels justified. You were wronged, ignored, hurt. Of course you're upset. But over time, this pattern builds a story, a dangerous one. The story that you are powerless, that life happens to you, not through you. This is the victim mindset, and it's one of the fastest ways to destroy your strength. Not because the pain isn't real, but because the response becomes a trap. You suffer twice, first from the world, then from your own narrative. The victim mindset feeds off attention and blame. It convinces you that everything outside of you is the problem. Your boss, your parents, your partner, the system, the weather. It creates a world where you have no power, only reactions. But Stoicism flips that script. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." That's not just a quote, it's a weapon. A shift, a way to stop leaking your strength and start owning your life. Because the more you blame, the more you wait. And the more you wait, the more your mind decays. Responsibility isn't about guilt, it's about freedom. You can't control what people do, but you can always control what happens next, in you. It starts with awareness. The moment you hear yourself say, "They made me feel this way," pause. Nobody can make you feel anything without your permission. Emotions rise, yes, but how long they stay, that's on you. The Stoics trained themselves to question their first reaction, not to suppress it, but to examine it. Is this pain useful? Is this anger justified? Is this fear based on truth or just my story? Because victims react, leaders respond. Victims wait to be rescued. Stoics rescue themselves. They don't need apologies to move forward. They don't need perfect conditions to act. They don't need closure to find peace. They own their mind, and that's where freedom begins. Taking back control doesn't mean pretending things didn't hurt. It means refusing to stay hurt. It means recognizing the pain, then deciding what to do with it. Do you carry it like a burden, or use it like fuel? Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That's not philosophy, it's instruction. It means you don't need justice to move on. You don't need closure to find clarity. What you need is discipline. To stop feeding the story that you're broken. To stop rehearsing every wrong done to you. To stop needing someone to fix it. The moment you take ownership, you stop being a victim, and you start becoming something else, a force. The truth is, life will never stop testing you. People will lie, they will leave, they will misunderstand you. That's not weakness, it's reality. But what happens next? That's your responsibility. Most people waste years waiting for fairness, waiting for recognition, waiting for someone to apologize. Stoicism says, stop waiting, act, think, choose. Not because the world is fair, but because you are strong. You don't rise by demanding change. You rise by becoming it. You stop being the victim the moment you say, "This ends with me." Not because the pain disappears, but because your reaction does. That's how you reclaim your life. That's how you win. Many believe it means weakness, surrender, or acceptance of injustice. But true forgiveness, Stoic forgiveness, is different. It is not about forgetting. It is not about allowing continued harm. It is about freeing yourself from the chains of resentment, It is about setting yourself beyond the reach of anger. A Stoic forgives not because he condones the offense, but because he refuses to carry the burden of hatred. The one who hurt you does not deserve a permanent seat inside your mind. Forgiveness is not about them. It is about you and your peace. The Stoic understands, to forgive is not to forget. It is to remember without letting pain define you. It is recognizing the injustice clearly, without sugarcoating it, and yet choosing not to be poisoned by it. Resentment is a silent thief. It steals your energy, your focus, your strength. Every moment you dwell on the hurt, you allow the offender to control you twice. Once when they hurt you, and again every time you replay it. Forgiveness breaks that cycle. It is not an act of mercy toward them. It is an act of power for yourself. Forgiveness does not mean you must allow the offender back into your life. It does not mean there are no consequences. Stoic forgiveness is paired with boundaries. Clear, firm, unapologetic. You can forgive someone and still choose to never trust them again. You can forgive and still walk away. Forgiveness clears your heart. Boundaries protect it. They are not acts of cruelty. They are acts of wisdom. A Stoic guards his peace like a fortress. He decides who is allowed entry, and he refuses to justify it. Your peace is yours to defend. Many confuse anger with strength. They believe holding on to rage makes them powerful, untouchable. But anger is not strength. It is noise. It is chaos inside your mind. The Stoic knows real power is calm. Real strength is silent. To forgive is to silence the enemy inside you, to draw the poison out. The world expects you to rage, to shout, to seek revenge. Surprise them with your silence. Shock them with your peace. Victory is not screaming louder. Victory is needing no defense at all. It is walking away whole, untouched by the storm. Forgiveness is an internal victory, not an external performance. It happens quietly, away from applause, away from witnesses. You don't forgive to be seen as noble. You forgive because you refuse to poison your own soul. You are not weak for releasing anger. You are strong because you refuse to carry it. The Stoic does not shout about forgiveness. He simply empties his hands of the past and fills them with present strength. You owe no one your forgiveness. You grant it because your peace demands it. To forgive without being weak is to understand where true power lives. It is not in shouting. It is not in endless battles. It is not in demanding repayment for every wound. True power lives in control, in inner stillness, in choosing what occupies your mind. Forgive, not because they deserve it, but because you deserve freedom. Set your boundaries, not out of fear, but out of wisdom. Carry no one's sins but your own. The Stoic knows the greatest victory is not to defeat the enemy. It is to become untouchable by them. 8 hours of sleep, but your body feels heavy. Your mind slower than it should be. You wonder if it's your job, your diet, or something wrong with you. It's not. It's your mind. Quietly, silently, it's leaking energy. And most people don't even notice it. They think they're tired from life. But life is just the stage. The real battle happens inside. A battle between mental habits you don't see and the strength you're supposed to have. Mental energy is invisible, but it fuels everything. Your focus, your patience, your emotions. When it leaks, you feel it everywhere. In your conversations, in your decisions, in your willpower. Most people blame the outside world. Stoicism teaches a different path. Turn inward first. If you're tired, unfocused, constantly battling yourself, it's because of the habits you carry inside. Habits you never question because they've become invisible. The first hidden enemy, overthinking. You replay conversations long after they end. You invent future scenarios that will never happen. You analyze what he said, what she might mean, what could go wrong. Your mind burns fuel solving problems that don't even exist. Marcus Aurelius warned, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Overthinking feels like caution. It's actually fear. It drains energy because it keeps you fighting invisible wars. Overthinking doesn't make you smarter. It makes you paralyzed. You think you're preparing, but you're only exhausting yourself. A stoic mind understands preparation. It prepares for what matters, not what might happen if 1,000 possibilities collide. You were not made to predict the future. You were made to meet it with calm when it arrives. Every moment spent overthinking is a moment you are absent from your real life. The second hidden enemy, emotional rehearsal. You imagine betrayals that haven't occurred. You prepare for disappointment that hasn't arrived. You arm yourself for arguments that will never come. Every time you do this, you force yourself to suffer twice. Once in the mind, once in life, and often only in the mind. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Emotional rehearsal is self-sabotage. You think you're protecting yourself. You're not. You're rehearsing pain. You're strengthening fears that might never come true. Each rehearsal robs you of present energy. Each imagined betrayal costs you real focus. A Stoic doesn't deny emotion. He recognizes its arrival and chooses whether to feed it or free it. Worrying about what might happen doesn't make you stronger. It makes you smaller. The battle isn't out there. It's inside. The third hidden enemy, comparison. You scroll, you watch, you measure. Their success becomes your failure. Their happiness becomes your resentment. You see their best moments and compare them to your worst days. And you lose. Every single time. Not because you're inadequate, but because you're fighting a battle no one else even knows you're in. Comparison steals joy because it moves your focus from growth to judgment. Seneca said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Comparison is imagination's cruelest trick. It convinces you that someone else's highlight reel is proof you are falling behind. But there's no race, no clock, no finish line. You are on a path that no one else can walk. Their victories don't diminish yours. Their speed doesn't dictate your value. You are not late. You are right on time. Overthinking, emotional rehearsal, comparison. They don't scream when they attack. They whisper. They feel normal. They sneak into your mind and drain your strength by small degrees, until one day you wake up exhausted and you don't even know why. But now you do. Awareness is the first step. Seeing the invisible thieves gives you a chance to fight back, a chance to protect the fortress of your mind. The Stoics didn't waste energy on what they couldn't control. They didn't waste strength on battles they couldn't win. Their power wasn't in being invulnerable. It was in choosing where to bleed. You can't stop all negative thoughts from entering your mind, but you can stop building temples for them. You can stop giving them your attention. You can stop giving them your energy. Focus is your shield. Protecting your mind starts with small decisions. When the thought comes, pause. Don't react. Question it. Is this thought helping me or hurting me? If it's hurting you, let it go. No argument, no drama, just release. Your peace is more important than winning a debate with yourself. It's more powerful to guard your silence than to engage every fear that visits your mind. You don't need to think less. You need to think better, clearer, with discipline. Not every thought deserves your attention. Not every feeling deserves your reaction. You are not the prisoner of your mind. You are its commander, its architect, its protector, and what you allow to stay will grow. Build routines that clean your mind daily. A few minutes of stillness, a few pages of wisdom, a breath before every reaction. Not because you're weak, but because you're powerful. Powerful enough to wait, powerful enough to choose. Most of the world reacts. You respond. Most of the world chases. You wait. And in that waiting, you grow stronger. Discipline your mind, not by force, but by clarity. When overthinking tries to spiral you, anchor yourself. When fear tries to rehearse disaster, breathe instead. When comparison tries to steal your joy, turn inward. You were not born to suffer imaginary battles. You were born to build, to create, to endure. And the mind you protect today becomes the life you build tomorrow. Mental energy is sacred. Protect it the way you would protect your home. Guard the gates. Filter the visitors. Choose who and what gets to stay inside. Because once a thought enters deeply, it shapes you. It doesn't knock politely. It carves itself into your reactions, your beliefs, your identity. Guard your mind, and you guard your destiny. Most people don't lose their battles in public. They lose them in private, inside their minds, long before the world ever sees it. It's not the loud fears that defeat you. It's the small, quiet doubts you feed every day. Starve them. Ignore them. Let them die from lack of attention. The mind you water will be the mind you live inside. Choose carefully. Strength isn't loud. It's not angry. It doesn't shout in defense. Strength is silent. It smiles at chaos. It shrugs at insults. It watches storms and stays rooted. You don't have to win every argument. You don't have to correct every misunderstanding. You don't have to explain yourself to people who aren't willing to listen. You just have to stay standing. Every time you resist overthinking, you win. Every time you let go of emotional rehearsal, you win. Every time you silence comparison, you win. Small victories, invisible to others, but massive in your own soul. Build your mind one silent victory at a time, until one day your presence will feel different. Not because you fought louder, but because you fought smarter. The world will still offer you chaos, still tempt you to waste your energy, still try to drag you into wars you don't need to fight. Smile, breathe, choose stillness. Every time you protect your mind, you protect your future. Every time you refuse to engage unnecessary battles, you gain unseen strength. And that strength becomes unshakable over time. You don't need more energy. You need fewer leaks. You don't need more motivation. You need less noise. Protect your mind, and energy will return. Protect your mind, and peace will return. Protect your mind, and strength will return. Because a stoic mind is not born, it's built. And today, you are building yours.